Hello everyone, I'm Eszter Vajda. Welcome to Hometown Talents and Treasures. This is Eagle Radio and we are live broadcasting from Methuen. We are talking about Hometown Talents and Treasures, and this week we are talking to some runners who are running the Boston Marathon for a good cause. We've got great guests on with us today. We have Erin Noyes. She's running for Girl Scouts of America of Eastern Massachusetts. Jennifer McNamara is running for Children's Hospital, and Alex Curry is running for Girls on the Run. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Running it for a good cause gives it really an extra edge. Erin, I want to talk to you first. Girl Scouts of America of Eastern Massachusetts, why did you decide to run for them?
I chose the Girl Scouts of Eastern Mass because I am a teacher in Arlington, and I originally, as a runner, running the Boston Marathon was a personal decision, and running it for a children's cause was a professional decision, I think. And I know a lot of girls in Arlington who are Girl Scouts and who are at the school that I work at, so I wanted to run it for a good cause that would benefit children that I know.
And was there a certain amount of money that you had to raise? How much have you raised? Are you still raising?
I am still raising. I have raised over $4,400,
wow.
And $4,000 is the minimum requirement.
Wow, excellent. And Alex is running for Girls on the Run. Love that. Alex, this is your first marathon.
Yes, it is.
You nervous?
Yes, I am nervous.
Why did you choose Girls on the Run?
I was first exposed to Girls on the Run as a coach. The program is international but still fairly small in Boston, and I immediately fell in love with the program's mission, positive social, emotional, and physical development for girls ages 8 to 12. Hadn't really planned to run a marathon this year, but when the group secured 2 numbers, it was kind of just very fast-paced from there. Yeah, and I thought if I'm going to do it, this is definitely the organization that I want to raise money for.
All right, and Jennifer, we're running for Children's Hospital. Why did you choose them?
I'm actually a nurse at Children's Hospital. I've been working there for about 8 years. And I started running for Children's, this will be my 6th year. So it's just a way for me to give back to the hospital and to the patients and families that I meet every day and am constantly amazed by.
Do you think an increasing number of people running for charities, I know when I ran it, I ran the 100, it wasn't such a common thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's definitely become more common. It's a great way to bring awareness to an organization and to raise funds for an organization. So the charity numbers for the Boston Marathon are actually very competitive to get, and most organizations end up turning away a number of runners, and so you have to fill out an application and commit to raising a lot of money, and the people who commit to the most money usually get those numbers. So it's certainly, especially with Boston being such an elite field, and the only way to get in if you don't qualify is to have a charity number. So it's definitely become much more common, and a great way for charities to get their name out there. That's what we did with Girls on the Run. I'm actually the director of Girls on the Run as well.
Oh, wow.
So I became sort of in the administrative seat of trying to secure some numbers and secure some runners. So I saw a different side of the charity side of marathoning.
Would you guys have run it if it wasn't for the charity?
I think in order to run without a charity bib, you have to qualify. Personally, I couldn't have qualified. But I don't know if there's a different answer from either side of me.
I'm in the same boat. I couldn't have qualified, but running for the charity has actually become the most important part of running. So being a part of the Children's Hospital team and a part of the mission, and we raise over $1.5 million every year for Children's Hospital.
Very
it's
impressive.
A really special team to be a part of. Mm-hmm. So that's become more important than my finishing the race, actually.
And I have to agree. On a smaller level, I'm one of 2 runners for Girls on the Run, but I don't know how I would have trained and headed towards tomorrow without feeling like I was kind of a part of something aside from myself and my own accomplishment. I don't
You
know if
ladies
that
are
would
giving me
motivate
goosebumps.
And I have to say too that, you know, I've been doing a lot of reflecting during this whole process, and you know, you do it as an athlete. You can look at yourself, you know, being in the Boston Marathon as an athlete, and you can look at it also that you're doing it to gain all this support for your charity. And I don't know, I would say that if I had to do it again, I might choose to do it for a charity again, because it's just so fantastic, the support that you get, not only for yourself, but you know, reach out to your community, and you know, you reach out to all of these people, and they, you know, they really bring in this incredible energy to your training and to you professionally, because you're constantly thinking about raising the money or making contacts with people while you're at work, you know, for the 2 months that you're raising the money itself. And I just think it's, you know, the feedback has just been tremendous during the past couple of months for the Girl Scouts of Eastern Mass, or for, I think, really any of the charities.
You know, in grad school, I did a project on women who run the Boston Marathon, first women who run the political, economic, social, and there was another one, impact, and what was it like. And I interviewed the first woman who ran the Boston Marathon, Bobby Gibb, and it's so interesting. She told me how her training, when she was training, she would run on the road, and then when a car came, she would stop, bend down, and pick a flower or something, because she was embarrassed to see other people, to let other people see that she was a runner, because girls back then, at the beginning of the century, of the last century, it wasn't a thing to do. In fact, there were some studies showing that if women run more than a few hundred yards, they wouldn't be able to conceive. How times have changed, and now how proud you must be of your running, especially as women. Of course, we'd love to hear from some men running. Focus specifically about what it's been like as a woman running the marathon. And running long distance, running, period.
Obviously, Girls on the Run is a girl power program, and that's really the biggest reason that I'm running too. And I think my sisters and I were always participated in athletics when we were younger. I definitely wasn't the most athletic of the three, but my middle sister was an unbelievable soccer player, and my youngest sister plays tennis now. And I remember my dad's older sister, our aunt, played competitive softball while we were growing up still, and she's kind of the one, I think, outside of my parents, who of course always encouraged us too, but was kind of always there, you know, women's sports, and women can do it, because she didn't have that when she was younger until later on. And so that was always something really special to me too, so I'm glad you brought that up.
And I think it's a little bit of a level playing field that you might not get in other sports, where, you know, men are just bigger and can be stronger. But in running, it's a mix. You know, when we go out for our long runs, there'll be women leading the group and men at the back, and a mix in between. And so it's always nice to watch the corrals line up, and you see all these women that are seated way ahead of a lot of men. So it is very empowering.
I'm very excited to have Kevin Belanger in the house. Thanks for making it from your spaghetti dinner. Excited to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, Kevin is running for the Melanoma Foundation of New England, and this is such a special story. All the stories are special, but Kevin is running in memory of his sister.
Yeah, so I lost my sister a little over 3 years ago to melanoma. She lives in Florida with my two nephews and niece, and basically she had a spot on her back that was removed and tested positive for melanoma, and she did all the follow-ups, all the right thing, and she was good to go for 7 years. And had a stomach ache one night, went for a couple of days, thought she just basically had the flu, wasn't going away, and they went in and did a section on her small intestine, came back positive for melanoma, and so it basically reared its ugly head with a vengeance. So they did a PET scan at that point. She had done all the, all the steps up into that point after her spot on her back was discovered. You know, do your regular checkup, so on and so forth, and yeah, so it came back. They did a full body PET scan after they did the resect on her small intestine, and you know, spots in the lung, spots in the brain. So it was just nightmare from that point on, and less than a year.
Well,
Yeah.
what is it going to be like at the start line for you, really thinking about your sister?
You know, not sure. I shouldn't say not sure. This is my first Boston. I actually did my first marathon last fall in Hampton, and so that was, you know, if I put myself in that venue, the first one doing it. I always wear my sister's cancer cap. I brought one back with me from Florida, and so, you know, when I started running, it was more of a stress reliever for me. You know, when she was going through it, I would just get out of that. I'm not a runner. I mean, I'm athletically involved with coaching and so on and so forth. I've always, you know, trained it, but to actually go and do long distance running, it wasn't me. But it kind of became a little, like I said, stress reliever. One thing went to another. And, you know, my first 5K turned into, you know, doing Boston tomorrow morning, and you know,
Whoa.
less than a year and a half, I guess
Yeah.
you'd say. But no, a lot of good support, people around me. They have 30 runners on their team. They get 30 numbers. There's actually 35 numbers on the team. They actually get 5 numbers given to them from Bill Rogers, because Bill Rogers is our the Melanoma Foundation's running for cover team is their honorary captain. So they get 5 of his numbers. So there's 35 people, and to date we've raised $180,000 for Melanoma.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
And Kevin, what's so astounding to me, and I think you're in Razu. Was
Razu,
it?
yeah.
Razu, same one that that Erin's on. What was so astonishing to me watching the video on your website is how early and how often, how frequent really melanoma is. That video really scared me. Kids start at 5 years old, and there's people up there saying, I wish when I was 16 I knew I shouldn't perm my hair. We all know about the sun, but so many other things. How common is this, Kevin?
It's, you know, I've learned a lot along the way here, you know, not just from in dealing with my sister in terms of early detection, but, you know, being around the people that I've been involved with the foundation. Every team meeting that I've gone to, of the 35 people in that room, each person, and they talked about it this morning at the brunch, each person has a direct contact to that cancer, directly related. And in doing this fundraising, I've been astonished at people that have come out of the woodwork to tell me, yeah, I have no problem donating. You know, my wife's brother, you know, somebody that's one person removed. How many people have brought that to the table? So in terms of you know, how prevalent it is, I'm just amazed. And how prevalent it is in young adults, 19 and under. It's the second fastest growing cancer, 19 and under. A lot of that number is related to tanning bed usage. You know, they've come up with a statistic that if you tan even once a month as a young adult, it increases your chances for melanoma by 75%, which is a big number. So the Melanoma Foundation has programs now by where they come into schools and they put on these programs and they try to get kids to sign on and take a pledge that they won't tan for the prom, so on and so forth. And it's just a good awareness piece because, you know, just like with any other cancer, it's education, it's early detection.
Kevin, we talked a little bit about the journey that everyone has taken to get here, and what you have learned and how it's changed you as a person. The training itself, and also running for a good cause. How has it strengthened you, changed you, evolved you?
It definitely has changed my life, and I have a good friend of mine who, you know, 3 or 4 years ago said, you know, you start doing this, he says, you know, if you build up to things, if you ever get to do a marathon, he said, it will change your life. And you know, last year when I did that marathon in Hampton, I remember calling him up that night and I said, you know what, Patrick, I said, you said something to me a couple years ago. I said, you're absolutely right. You know, it was incredible. I mean, it's a, you know, I turned 50 a couple of weeks back, and you know, for me, it's you know, a selfish way. It's a good bucket list type of thing. But you know, the fact that to do something that you don't think that you can ever accomplish, you know, even if you weren't to get to that finish line. I mean, me personally, when I've been out there on long runs and even, you know, doing Hampton last year, you get to those points at 16, 17, and you start feeling, you know, the aches and the pains and looking for the oil can like the tin man. You know, but you think about those people that have, you know, this particular time have supported you along the way, and people that are, you know, dealing with melanoma and other types of cancers, you know, you figure, you know what, this is nothing compared to what they go through on
Yeah,
a
it's
daily
the least I
basis.
can do
People
is
that are
run
battling.
26.2
For those people who are considering, or perhaps they had it on their bucket list or some kind of list, have considered running Boston and really haven't been able to pull it together, why run for a cause? What difference does that make?
I would say to run for a cause really strums up support for yourself. That's, you know, the smallest thing that I've learned from this. But really it sends the message to other people that causes are great inspiration, and they are really important. And I think that if you mix something like the Boston Marathon, which is often on people's bucket lists, and a terrific charity in itself, I think that, you know, to mix that with your great cause is just, I think, the perfect recipe for success and you know, an inspiration. And I think that just really it gets everybody involved and, you know, and moving and inspired. So
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think that just kind of triples any motivation that you might already have. I don't really know if personally I would have, for the first time running a marathon, felt so dedicated and like I had signed on to something if it wasn't for a larger reason. And who knows, maybe someday I'll surprise myself. But like I said, I don't really think that running to qualify would have put me in these shoes. And I think looking at the thousands and thousands of people who run for charity, how can you, and I just can't even believe that many dollars are going to go to good tomorrow. And I think Boston was historically kind of an elite race and elite runners only, so to have seen it kind of gone in this other direction, that's what I'm proud of. And I know that the people who win tomorrow and the people who kind of finish in that first chunk are there for a totally different reason, but I'm proud of why we're there and
Well
other charity runners.
Well put.
I agree. I think one of the lessons we teach at Girls on the Run is about gratitude, and this is kind of the ultimate form of giving back to an organization, being part of something bigger, and it makes all the difference. I've run marathons on my own, and I've run for children's, and these are way more special.
I think it means so much more when you're doing it for somebody else too. Yeah.
I think that obviously, you know, at the start I had personal reasons for doing this in terms of, you know, what happened with my sister and the close personal tie there. But having coached so many young kids, you know, in the Merrimack Valley area, and realizing how prevalent it is in young adults, for me, kind of getting the message out there to as many people as I can is, you know, aside from the money, you know, the money that you raise, I mean, obviously that's an important piece, but just coming from this brunch, you know, I got recognized because I had the most donors out of this whole campaign, and that's the number that really sticks out for me because, you know, the message is getting out there in terms of melanoma, because you're not gonna tell your story just put your hand out without telling your story, so to speak.
That's right. Remind me how much you raised. I think you had to raise $4,000.
Yeah, I had to raise, my initial goal is 4. Typically a lot of the charities are 4. And I got to 4 pretty quick, so raised it to 5, made 5, raised it to 6, made 6, raised it to 7, and just Friday night went over 8.
Good for you.
Yes.
Thanks. So it's been, you know, it's been great that way. Like I said, people coming out of the woodwork, but also, you know, people who know me, people have come up to me and said, "Geez, I didn't realize you're a long distance runner." Listen, I'm not. You know, I'm a hockey and baseball guy who is trying to do something good to really pay it forward. You know, and if you send a message out there of paying it forward, and maybe this is how it's changed me. You know, if you're not a long distance runner, you can go out and have the discipline and the drive to do something like this to help somebody else that you don't even know. I mean, we always typically turn on the channel and watch great things that happen around this country in times of crisis. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that in the forefront when it's not a time of crisis, I mean, that's how we all kind of come together, right?
Beautifully said. Okay, final moments. I wanted to go around one more time at how people can reach you and what you're running for. Jennifer, you go first.
All right. I'm running for Boston Children's Hospital, and the website is giving.childrenshospital.org.
And I'm Alex. I'm running for Girls on the Run Boston, and you can search Girls on the Run Boston or Alex Curry at crowdrise.com.
And I'm Erin Noyes, and I am running for the Girl Scouts of Eastern Mass, and you can find us on Razoo and type in my name, Erin Noyes.
Hi, my name is Kevin Belanger, and I'm running for the Melanoma Foundation of New England. And my fundraiser website can be found on razoo.com, and you can just punch my name in, Kevin Belanger, and my page will come up.
Thank you to all. What a fantastic conversation. Good luck to all of you. I'll be thinking of you guys, looking for you on TV, really, really rooting for you and hoping that all goes well. And what a tremendous thing, really extraordinary thing that each and every one of you is doing by running for another cause. So thank you for what you do to the community, and thank you everyone for listening. This is Hometown Talents and Treasures. We're here every Sunday at 3 o'clock, and if there's someone you'd like to sponsor, someone in the community doing something great, whether they're runners or educators or healers or in any genre, making an impact, doing something extraordinary to help others become better informed, better educated, and inspired, email me at esther@freecommunityconnection.com. See you next Sunday.
We will protect its Asian allies against